and the statement that you made on the 24th of October, that the CPS had failed grooming victims. That's a very serious statement from the Director of Public Prosecutions. How did you fail the victims of child grooming?
I think that was the headline rather than my words, but the point I was trying to make was this, and it wasn't restricted to the Crown Prosecution Service. It was the police, the Crown Prosecution Service, and to some extent the courts as well. And what I was driving at was this, and I think this is, for us, the single biggest challenge when it comes to grooming. The tests of reliability and credibility that the police, prosecutors and courts traditionally use for witnesses and victims don't work for young children subject to systematic abuse. In any case, a prosecutor has to reach a decision on whether or not there's a realistic prospect of conviction. There are a number of tests for that which are used in cases such as when the person came forward, whether they've been consistent, whether they've given one account and not deviated from it, whether there's other supporting evidence. In sexual offences, whether they've gone back to the perpetrator, etc. There are also issues relating to drink and drugs. These are obviously useful tests for any prosecutor. The problem, I think, when it comes to grooming is that whenever those tests are applied to this category of victim, you'd almost invariably get the wrong results when you're assessing credibility and reliability. And one of the things we did in light of the Rochdale ultimately successful prosecution was to walk through the decision-making from start to finish, from when the case first came to us, and then after that to gather together other cases we've got throughout the organisation.
We'll come on to that in a minute, but what concerns me is the fact that clearly for years there have been victims of child grooming. This involves the CPS, the police and social services. Yet, for example, if you look at this year, before you made your announcement and before you appointed Mr Afzal, something that I welcome in respect to the action you've taken, there were no prosecutions for child grooming in South Yorkshire, for example, in the whole of this year. I mean, that's a pretty big indictment of the way in which these matters are conducted, though we know, because we read about the victims, and the committee has heard evidence from others, that this is going on.